Hello, and welcome back to another crafty ASMR video. I recently did a video where I made a book nook, and I'm feeling super creative and crafty recently, so I wanted to try my first ever diamond painting. So this is one that a community member actually gave me for my birthday last year, and it has been sitting in my cupboard waiting for this video. It is 30 by 30 centimeters. I don't know how long it will take me. We probably won't finish it today, but I'm gonna give it a good go. Now, whatever you are doing, sit back and relax with rain sounds. So, this is the picture that is going to become our diamond painting. From far away, it kind of already looks complete, but this is the picture that we're going to be replicating, and each of these tiny little dots are actually numbers or letters which correspond to this key down here. So we have 23 different colours. The kit comes with one pot, the wax, and a single dot dipper. The intention is that you do one colour at a time, probably starting with 1, working your way through to 23. However, I don't want to do that. I would like to go across and just keep going across. So I'm gonna see how that works for me. What I have is the box I cut up into little trays, and I'm just gonna put all the colours in the trays going across. So as you can see, I ran out of room on these two. So we've gone 1 to 9, and then I've gone A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. So we still have an order, but I split these away from their very similar colours, just so I don't get them mixed up between them. Now we've got this little dipper, and it's pretty easy to use. You take this wax sheet and you stamp it into the wax sheet, and then you've got a little bit of wax in the top there. This allows you to pick up the diamonds and pop them in place. Now, the ones of you with keen eyes will notice that I have actually already started, and that's because the recording stopped. I don't know why it stopped, but it did. So I have done a little bit. That does also mean I'm in the swing of things now a little bit, so I can kind of just talk you through how I do it while doing these. Now, underneath the letter is the picture. So this is telling me it's J, which is also red. So I know that J is roughly over there, and that is the only red one, so it's quite easy to make sure you're picking up the right ones, really. You just need to make sure you're picking them up on the right side, and then sticking them down. I think the most difficult thing to do is have them straight. I am struggling with that a little bit, in all honesty. But the overall picture should still look quite nice. I'd like to do a mix of slow talking and just kind of walking you through my process, and also close-up shots with hopefully a little bit of ASMR, because the sticking down and picking up sounds are quite nice, but they are very, very quiet. So I don't know how well the mic will actually pick them up, but we can give it a go, can't we? Now, I did think doing it like this may be a little bit more difficult, because you're having to figure out which one's the right one. But so far, it's actually alright. Kind of just remember my rough order and then go off the colours, really. So there we have our first row completed, and it only took me like 20 minutes. I think I'll get a little bit faster as I go, but I'm liking this so far. It's quite relaxing, and once you get in the swing of things, it's pretty good. So you can kind of see that it is coming together a little bit now. I once again messed up the recording, so I've been doing it for about half an hour and I wasn't recording, which is fantastic. So I'm going to carry on and hopefully get a nice kind of time lapse for this section with the kind of like clicky sounds of me pushing them in, because it makes some really nice sounds. I just didn't record any of that, so it's fantastic. But it's nice to see it building up this way. I really like the way I'm doing it rather than doing one colour at a time. I think it's quite fun, although maybe a little bit more difficult. actually insane how long this takes. Even though I feel like I'm going really quickly, I mean, this is real time now, and you can see that I'm definitely not going really quickly, but it does feel fast. It's not like I'm spending ages fiddling around, looking for the pieces. I'm literally just picking them up and putting them down. When I was doing the time-lapse thing, like when I'm not talking, I like to put on a little podcast and listen to a podcast. I think it's really nice to just sit and do creative things while listening to like a podcast or a movie. So it is really nice to be able to take a break. That's what I love about this channel. I have 3 YouTube channels. If you didn't already know, I've got this channel. I have my gaming channel, which used to be my only channel. And more recently, I have a movie reaction channel. Now, if you also didn't know, I am a full-time content creator. So all the stuff I do on this channel, on my movie, on my Twitch, this is my work. And it is fun to sit and play video games for a living. It is. But I do find that when it becomes your source of income, it does become a little bit of a job. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy it, because I do. But the way I play games on my gaming channel is very different to how I used to play games to relax. So when I am gaming on Twitch or on my YouTube gaming channel, it's like really quite high energy, and I'm talking all the time. And because it is my job, I stopped playing games for enjoyment. And that's kind of my own fault. You can be a streamer, a YouTube content creator, whatever. You can do that and still play games off stream, off video. But I have an issue where if I'm doing something and it doesn't feel productive, so if it's not exercise, work, food, the exception to that is like meeting up with friends and family on occasion, because I do find that quite important, and I do think it's productive because you've got to make sure you're keeping in touch with all your relationships and stuff. But yeah, if it's not productive to me, I won't do it. I feel like I have to be productive all of the time. That's why I don't really sit scrolling through TikTok, or I don't watch telly unless I'm doing something productive while I'm doing it. So one thing about me is I'm really, really creative. I used to love arts and crafts, and when I became a full-time content creator, I stopped doing all of my arts and crafts because it didn't fit into my productivity sort of genre. If I'm not doing it for a YouTube video or to sell or something, then I feel like I shouldn't be doing it, which it is crazy. But that is why I really like making these videos, because it's productive. I can sit here and I can do some ASMR and relax in a different way to how I can relax on stream playing games or even on my movie channel. Honestly, it's a pleasure to make content for this channel. And it was really nice to sit there doing the time lapse while listening to a podcast because I haven't really been able to listen to my podcasts that much recently because I've just been so busy with editing and you can't really listen to anything while you're editing, especially not a podcast. Now, I used to be a photographer. I used to do mainly, it was event photography, but I used to mainly do nightclub photography. And I would walk there and I would listen to my podcast on the walk there. And I would listen to my podcast while I was there. And then on the walk home, I would also listen. And that was also around the time that I bought my first house. I used to work so many different jobs to afford. I think there was a point where I had 5 jobs and I was doing all of that so I could save up and pay for this house, which is really great. It's such a privilege to have your own space. And then when I moved in, there was a lot of DIY work that needed doing. So I got to paint my house and do the flooring and all of that while listening to my podcasts. And now I just don't really get the chance to listen anymore unless I'm sleeping and, I listen to 20 minutes and then I fall asleep. So it takes me a while to listen to a full episode. So to be able to sit here and just listen to a whole episode is fantastic. Now I know that at least a few people will be interested in this. So the podcasts that I listen to are Dungeons and Daddies and Girls Who Don't D&D. And they are both, I think they're called actual play podcasts. And if you don't know what D&D is, it's the tabletop game called Dungeons and Daddies. And you have a dungeon master who makes up the game, and then you have players and they have characters and they go through the different challenges that the game master has come up with for them. I say game master, isn't that more for Call of Cthulhu? I think they call the game master there, maybe. Call of Cthulhu is a similar kind of concept, but the rules are different. And the reason I love it is because it's almost like audiobooks, but they're just wild. Because if you didn't already know, the dice rolls determine what happens in Dungeons and Dungeons and Dragons. So someone will say, I want to attack this person with my sword, and then you have to roll a dice, and depending on how well the dice roll goes, how big the number is, it's usually a 20-sided dice they roll. Depends on how well the outcome is. So one of the examples of that being really quite funny is in Dungeons and Daddies, where one of the characters has nunchucks, and they kind of do a bit of a flourish with their nunchucks to show off, and they roll badly and hit themselves in the balls and take damage themselves, and it's just something different that you don't really get in movies and stuff, because sometimes really, really bad things can happen that derail the entire story because of the dice rolls. and they're just gonna have to go with it. So yeah, those are the kind of podcasts I listen to. Currently, there's only two I like. That's Dungeons and Daddies and Girls Who Don't D&D. And I like those ones because they're not like overly serious, and the characters seem like more like real people. So in Dungeons and Daddies, they just play as dad, and they do have their own classes, but at the end of the day, they're just dads. They're not like creatures from different lands and stuff, with silly voices. And I know some people like that sort of stuff, but for me, it's just a bit too much to get behind. So yeah, I really like those two. I can't believe how much I just yap about podcasts. But to be fair, whenever I get the chance, I'm always talking about those podcasts. I've listened to Dungeons and Daddies about 3 times over. Not the newest season, because season 4 had only just come out, but the other seasons. In total, I think I have listened to them all 3 times. And I can't remember when I found them. I think it was just before we bought this house. So yeah, I had to do a lot of DIY. So I got to listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm not huge on music. Like, I do like music, but for stuff like doing DIY, I need something a bit more stimulating for the brain than just music. Otherwise, I can get a bit bored just, doing the same painting motions over and over again. And in that whole time, I managed to complete one single row. So that just demonstrates how long this is actually going to take me. I've been doing this for about 2 hours maybe more, and I've done 7 rows. I think I'll continue with a bit more of a time lapse, and I'll see how far we get. So after many hours, this is the progress that I have made. It is insane how long this takes. It is really nice to see it coming together. I do really like the look of it. I didn't think I'd like it that much, but especially on camera, it looks so pretty and I really want to finish this. But oh my god, it's going to take me forever. This is why they tell you to do it one colour at a time, because it takes that long. That now I just have all the colours on the trays. What I actually need is like a pill box or like something for organising sequins, because I know those sorts of things exist. So maybe I'll look for that and try this again in a future video. But for now, I think I've done enough relaxation for today. I've listened to 2 hours of my podcast and we've also done some chatting while I did that. It is a shame at the lack of the progress that has been made, but I hope you have found it enjoyable regardless. Now, if you are still awake, let me know in the comments if you like this, if you'd like me to do more of the diamond painting and hopefully complete the diamond painting. I'll see you next time for some more rain sounds. Thank you for watching and sweet dreams.